Hello, everyone. I'm Tom. I'm a rebel and a rule breaker. So when they say, I hope you come and inspire our guests, I, I say to myself that might be very dangerous, but here I am. So I am a fashion designer, and when I was a child, I was mesmerized by my industry. I love the colors and the beautiful pictures in magazines and the lifestyle, and I always wanted to come to New York to study fashion. So when I was 20, I booked that one-way ticket to New York and never looked back. So all my life, I never imagined myself doing anything else. And I grew up in that industry and exposed to all the negative impacts that my industry had on society and on the environment. But it didn't stop me from loving my job. And I thought to myself that, everyone has their flaws and every industry has their dark side. And I was just thrilled to get a job in a very prestigious high fashion studio where we make beautiful silk dresses and wool jackets and fur coats, minks and rabbit fur and fox fur. So in the studio, we would cut up the tiny pieces of fur into tiny square pieces from a large fur yard, and then we sew them back together. So when the customer wears the coat, it will move and it is super soft and it feels exquisite. And I love my job every day. And until one day, I came into the office and saw that in my office there were a rack of fox hide. So the hide is the fur with the skin intact, which means that I can see the fox paw and I can see their tails and I can see their face looking at me, saying like, "What you've done." And it was traumatizing. And I remember for the whole day I couldn't work. I never saw fur that way. It always came in a roll, and that was my first experience with fox hide. The whole day I couldn't make any decision knowing that any color choice I make, any fur option I make might lead to some other new animal being killed. And at the end, I quit my job very shortly after that. At that time, I knew that as a foreign junior designer in that company, it would be very difficult for me to change an industry that with a tradition that has been going on for hundreds of years. But maybe in an emerging market like Vietnam, and with my own company, maybe I could. And at that time, Vietnam's economy was skyrocketed the years before, and all of my friends were moving back. And one day I sat down and said, okay, that's it. I left my annoying roommates and I left my books and all opportunities behind and booked another one-way ticket to Saigon, where I was born and raised. It seems like an easy decision now, but at that time, it wasn't. Because I spent, years in the US trying to make a career, and leaving means that I left all of my industry connections, I left all opportunities behind, and it kept me awake for months. And it also worried my family as well. My education was their investment as well. And later I found out that my dad actually prayed for a long time that somebody else hired me, somebody else gave me another job, so I didn't need to move back. But I was a young man with a big dream, and I had just had some gut instinct that it was the right decision. So I had to put that to test. When I moved back, we opened a studio in the rented apartment in the outskirts of the city, and we call it Modern Studio. And we would focus on sustainable fashion. To me, sustainable means that we at that time we were turning leftover fabric and production waste and dead stock fabric and old clothes and into new products. And sustainable to me means that you create good products, you do create good products, product that lasts, made by somebody who is treated well, and you have growth without exploiting the limited resources. And even though it was a very challenging situation we were in, and the system was very complicated, but we kept going because I had a vision. We were born in a generation that were very connected, and we are exposed to many things in the world, and we became much more conscious consumers. So soon, because we gained some recognition in the market, because there was no one else that was doing the same thing, and we moved on to having some other success, and soon everyone in the industry knew us. The future was looking bright until 2018, when we were accused of greenwashing, which means you are doing sustainability as a marketing tool. And it devastated me because up until then, and even up until now, we only have 2 collections per year, compared to other companies which has 15. So, and we had to fight very hard and overcame many obstacles in order to keep the company that way. And lucky for us, because we were transparent since the very beginning, that our people who shop with us and people who visited the studio, who knew how the clothes were made, spoke up, and we never had to say another word. After that, we kept the company that way, and we were able to go to London to show, and we were able to work with some national and international institutions. And today, we believe in that vision just as much as we started on the first day. So having some success in this niche market and overcome some adversities has taught me so many lessons about turning visions into reality. And I also would like to share some of that with you as well. The first lesson to me was about vision. You might have a vision, but most of the time, it's a vision that only you can see. So it will be your responsibility to persuade people into believing in that vision and go into the direction that you want. The first seamstress that we interview said to me that, Tom, your idea sounds great, but I am a woman with family and children, and I need a stable job. I don't think I can work with you. I didn't realize how young you were when we spoke over the phone. And then I knew that not only we had to convince people that our product is sustainable, but our business model is sustainable as well. And the second seamstress that we interviewed, Miss Tu, she's still with us today, after 6 years in the company. And she would sit very patiently to take out components of an old piece of clothing and turn them into a new piece of clothing without ever complaining. And every time that she left for a higher paid job, she would come back because of what we do or because how we treated her. So speaking of vision, I'm turning 30 the other day. I'm not going to say what day, I'm not going to say what year, but the other day, and I realized that I don't always have questions about the future. When I was 20, I had. When I was 20, I think about the company of 20 employees because that is what I have seen. But the world is changing so quick today, and there are so many possibilities out there. But every time I feel lost, I could remember a page from a children's book called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Macaulay. In a forest, in a foggy forest, the boy could say to the horse, I cannot see the path ahead. But do you see the step ahead? The horse said, yes. Then just take that. The horse replied. I think our generation is very different from previous generations in that we grew up with technology. We are exposed to many possibilities. We constantly compare ourselves to others, and we are expected a lot from society. So, chaos, it freezes us. It just makes us want to just stand there and do nothing because we are so afraid of what we might do wrong. But whenever you are lost in a sea of criticism or self-doubt or lack of vision, just remember your core values and think of the path you might want to take. I think one step ahead is good enough for the day. And remember that your vision, no matter how clear it is, it will not become reality without a lot of hard work and a very strong mind to keep moving forward about a lot of outside noises. So I hope you take that next step, and I wish you good luck. Thank you.